Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa says South Africa has taken a big step towards ending load shedding. In his weekly newsletter, the president said government had gazetted ministerial determinations to enable the development of more than 11,800 megawatts of additional power. To put this in perspective, he said South Africa had around 30,000 megawatts of power available on the national grid each day. So we're looking at 1/3 in terms of additional energy. This will come from various sources, including solar, wind, gas, coal and storage. To discuss, we're joined by energy specialist tonight, Blom. Mr. Blom, thank you. Analysts have been saying, open up the grid, let more power come in from all these different sources and feed into the energy grid so it's more sustainable and load shedding less likely. With that, do you welcome today's announcement?
Look, I think any movement by government is to be welcomed, but unfortunately it seems to be more of the same. I went through the Gazette last week and through the extract of the president's speech. The fact of the matter is Eskom is in a big crisis. We've seen it with the load shedding. Despite promises from the CEO to Parliament and to the public that there would be minimal load shedding, it's been the worst load shedding on record, I'm told. So if we don't recognize we're in a crisis, then we are not taking the right and appropriate measures.
Yeah.
What we need now,
Mr. Blom, isn't this a big step? He's saying what has been released, obviously it'll take time, I'm sure, to come on board, but it's 1/3 of the daily requirement for the entire country. That's huge.
Ma'am, yes, 11,000 megawatts is more than 2 Medupis. And we saw that Medupi, after 12 years, is still not finished. The problem is even before the first power plants are able to come on board, and their own target date is June 2022. That means for the next 24 months, industry, households, scholars, new work seekers, everybody going to be handicapped because there's no chance of additional power coming onto the grid. We need emergency power now. The CSIR has called for 8 gigawatts. I've called for 5 gigawatts of imported power, and even Eskom themselves have said they urgently need 5 gigawatts of imported power now, not in 2 years' time.
And where would that come from and at what cost?
Well, on record, we have the Turks offering their power barges, which can take 30 to 60 days to arrive, and they come in at R1.70 a kilowatt hour, which is less than what anybody currently pays for their power if you add in all the on-charges. So, and Eskom's own gas comes in at more than R4 a kilowatt hour. So it's half the price of what Eskom can generate gas power from. And then on top of that, there's other measures as well. I'm familiar with somebody, and I've made the offer to Eskom to fly in power, emergency power sets at the rate of 200 megawatts per week. And so you can get 2, 3, 4, 5 gigawatts within 6 months. And that would be until the rest of the power one day comes online. And I'm not convinced that the 11 gigawatts that the president has promised is actually going to run so smooth. There's closures, there's financial closures. Eskom has to be the buyer. I don't know if people want to sell power to Eskom. And there's the EIAs as well. So we're talking about a long process.
Well, maybe this is a chance to explain. So Eskom makes power. When the president says new energy can be procured, you're saying Eskom has to be the buyer now, and explain who will be doing the selling.
Well, Eskom will be buying the new power producers, according to the Gazette, have to sell their power to Eskom, and that was the Gazette signed by Mr. Montash. So Eskom is the buyer, and then they will then on-sell it via their network to the various customers. I don't know what's happened to the independent system operator, which is supposed to come out of the unbundling. That seems to have been forgotten by government as of today.
So we're looking at load shedding. I mean, Eskom has even warned of this until 2022. You say that could be averted earlier if there was the will. But the way we're going, that is the situation. At least when the new energy comes on board, I mean, it looks like a lot of this is 4,800 megawatts of wind energy, 2,000 of solar. Then there's gas, diesel and coal. So at least we're moving to clean energy. Is that a welcome development?
No, ma'am. If I may point it out, I don't know where you are on the earth at the moment, but where I'm sitting, there's very little solar available at this stage. The problem with the renewables is they're not dispatchable, and we need base load in Eskom. Eskom is so broken that on a good day, they struggle to generate 28 gigawatts of base load without using the diesel turbines. So, yes, to a novice, it sounds like any power would be welcome. But the fact of the matter is, if you ask somebody who knows a little bit about power, you'll realize that there are different types of power for different demand profiles.
Yeah.
And what we need now to keep our factories going and to upgrade our smelters and mines is base load, solid power, 24/7, not intermittent stuff that's available for 2 or 3 hours a day.
But what about all the people investing in wind farms? And this is often touted as the future. Are they mad?
Well, if you've got storage, then wind farms can help you. But the wind farms worldwide only have an energy availability factor of less than 30% in any 24-hour period of time. So that's 3 hours a day. I don't know where those people think they're going to get the other power from for the other 21 hours in the day. What they typically do is they overfarm the wind farms, and then when the wind does blow, they put the surplus into storage or into storage pump dams, and then draw down after hours. But with the cost of storage being so expensive, that's not a viable option. So what typically happens is these renewable people worldwide piggyback on baseload power and then claim to have the cheapest available power 24/7, which is just a whole lot of lies.
All right, not terribly impressed with the recent announcement about more energy coming onto the grid. That was energy specialist Ted Blom.